Hello everyone, today I am going to explain the solution of tutorial sheet 4. Now just see the question number 1. In question number 1, for what values of x does the series converge absolutely and conditionally? Also find its radius and interval of convergence. So we are given any power series, means any series in the terms of powers of x. We have to find for what value of x this series converge absolutely and conditionally. Now what is the meaning of absolute convergence? If the series converges after taking the mod, then we will say the series is convergent absolutely. And conditional convergence means if the series is convergent without mod, right, then it is said to be conditional convergence. So now in these type of questions, first we have to consider the series with mod. Why we will take the mod? Because every test except alternating series test, all the tests are applicable to positive term series, and we don't know whether our x is positive or negative, so we consider the mod over here. So first of all, take the mod of the series, then apply the ratio test. And since we know that in case of ratio test, whenever the limit of n plus 1th and nth term is strictly less than 1, the series is always convergent. Greater than 1, it is divergent, and for equal to 1, the test fails. Okay, so we are interested in the case when this limit is strictly less than 1 or equal to 1. So when this limit is less than 1, we are having some values of x for which this condition hold. So we get that is an interval of absolute convergence, right? But we don't know when this limit is exactly 1. That means the endpoints of this interval. So we have to check the behavior of the series at the endpoints. So when we put x to be minus 1 over here, then we need to check the behavior of this series. Now since it is an alternating series, we can check its behavior first of all by taking the mod and then without mod. Now, in each case, its nth term is not going to 0, it is going to 1. So therefore this series is divergent. In alternating series test also we required this third condition, that the limit is going to 0 as n goes to infinity, but here it is not going to 0. So in each case this series is divergent. It is not absolutely convergent, not conditional convergent. The same way when we put x to be 1, we get this series. Again this is divergent. So at minus 1 and plus 1 the series is not convergent. So what will be the interval of absolute convergence? That is an open interval minus 1 to 1. Conditional convergence, there is no point where the series converging without mod. Interval of convergence is same as that, the union of these two. Now since there is no point where the series converging conditionally, so interval of convergence is same as that interval of absolute convergence. Now what is the radius of convergence? That is the half of the length of the interval. Now what is the length of any interval? AB, that will be B minus A. So here the length is 1 minus minus 1, which becomes 2. So the radius will be half of that, that is 1. So the radius of convergence is 1. The same way in question number 1b part, we are having a series of the form n factorial upon x minus 4 to the power n. When we apply the ratio test, we get this term. This limit is infinity except when x is equal to 4. So this series is divergent for every x except x is equal to 4, because when you put x is equal to 4, this series will become 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 and so on, and that is convergent, right? So at x is equal to 4, the series converges absolutely as well as convergent. However, by ratio test, the given series is divergent for every other x. So the interval of convergence and interval of absolute convergence both are same, and that is only at the point x is equal to 4. There is no point where the series converging conditionally, and the radius of convergence is 0 because there is no interval. We can say the interval is 4, 4, closed interval 4, 4. Since the length of this interval is 0, so the radius is also 0. The same way in C part, we are having this series. Again, we are considering first of all its mod, then apply the ratio test. Now in this case, when you put n tending to infinity, this is always 0, whatever the value of x. It is independent of x. And 0 is strictly less than 1, so series is convergent for all x in the interval minus infinity to infinity. So the series converges absolutely over the interval minus infinity to infinity. There is no point where the series is convergent without mode, so conditional convergence none. So interval of convergence will be same as that interval of absolute convergence, and the radius, which is the length of half of the length of the interval, that becomes infinity. The same way one can do the example question number D part. Here we are having a series of the form x to the power n over 1 n into ln square. First of all, consider its mod, apply the ratio test, simplify it. We get mod of x is less than 1, means minus 1 to 1 as an interval. Now we need to check at the end point, so we substitute x to be minus 1 and then plus 1. In each case, this series is convergent with mod by applying the integral test. So the interval of absolute convergence will become the closed interval minus 1 to 1. There is no point where the series is convergent conditionally, so conditional convergence is none. Interval of convergence is the union of these two, and the radius of convergence is the half of the length of the interval. Since the length of the interval is 2, so the radius will be 1. The same way one can do check the behavior of this series. Here we get interval as minus 4 to 4, so when we substitute at the end points, we will get this series is converging conditionally at x is equal to minus 4, because it's satisfying all the three conditions of alternating series test. But when you take mod, this series is not convergent by limit comparison test. So in this case, the series is convergent conditionally at x is equal to minus 4. So the interval of convergence is open interval minus 4 to 4. Conditional convergence exists at x is equal to minus 4. So the interval will become the union of these two. It means minus 4 is included in the interval. And what is the radius of the convergence? Since the length of the interval is 8, so the radius will be half of it, which is 4. The same way one can do this f part. Here also, when we take mod first and then apply ratio test, we get the interval is 0 to 2. When we check at the point x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 2, we get the series is convergent by alternating series test at 0 as well as at 2. So the series is convergent conditionally at 0 and 2. So the interval of absolute convergence is an open interval 0 to 2, and conditional convergence exists at 0 and 2. So the interval of convergence will become the union of these two, means including 0 as well as including 2. Now the length of the interval is 2, so the radius will be half of it, which is 1. Then the next question is find the Taylor series generated by the following functions at x is equal to a. This is our function. A is 2. First of all, find out the higher order derivatives, then find out the values at 2. Substitute in the formula, you will get the Taylor series generated by this function at this point. The same way e to the power x, the same way x upon 1 minus x and 1 upon x square. Just find out the higher order derivatives, find its values at the given a, then substitute in the formula, you will get the Taylor series. Maclaurin series is in a particular case of Taylor series. In that case, we consider a to be 0. So now just see, we have to find out the Maclaurin series for the function x into e to the power x. First of all, we consider the function to be as e to the power x. Find out its Maclaurin series by finding out its higher order derivatives and the values at 0. Then whatever the Maclaurin series you have, you just multiply by x to both sides, you will get the Maclaurin series for the function x into e to the power x. Now why we just multiply by x? Because if you find the Maclaurin series for x, it comes out to be x. So basically we are finding the Maclaurin series for x as well as e to the power x and then multiply both. And since in case of polynomial of finite degree, The Maclaurin series is same as that the polynomial, so we can multiply by that. The same way here the function is x square into sine x, so you first consider sine x as a new function gx, find out its Maclaurin series, and then you just multiply by x square, you will get the Maclaurin series for x square sine x. The same way into when you have a function cos square x, you can find its first derivative, you will get in the terms of minus sine 2x, then and so on. Find out its values at 0, substitute in the formula, you will get the Maclaurin series for cos square x. In D part, you have to find out the Maclaurin series for this function. So first you consider ln1 plus 2x, find out its higher order derivatives, find its values at 0, substitute in the formula. Whatever the series you have, you just multiply by x, you will get the Maclaurin series for this function. Now in question number 4, for approximately what values of x, sin x can be replaced by this number with an error of magnitude not greater than 5 into 10 to the power minus 4, give reason for your answer. So first of all, whatever the function is given to you, you just find out its Maclaurin series. Then by observing the question, since in the question what we have to set, we have to find out that for what value of x, if we replace sin x with this term, the error of magnitude is not greater than this number. So by using Taylor's formula or by using alternating series estimation theorem, we can find out the error in this case, since this series having the alternate signs, so that's why we can apply alternating series estimation theorem also. Now since by using the alternating series estimation theorem, we know that L minus Sn mod will be less than or equal to the first unused term. In this case, this is x to the power 5 over 5 factorial. Now since we have mod over here, so we will always have mod over here. So this will be, now this will become the error. In the question, we are given that error of magnitude is not greater than this number. So it should be strictly less than 5 into 10 to the power minus 4. Now you just simplify this, you will get the values of x, for which if we replace sin x with this series, the error is not greater than this number. We can also apply the remainder estimation theorem. In case of remainder estimation theorem, we have to apply the Taylor's formula. So we have to find out the polynomial of order n. So now in this case, since the derivatives are 0, even order derivatives are 0, so since fourth derivative is 0, so here the polynomial of order 3 is same as that polynomial of order 4. So we will consider the maximum one. So we will write down by using Taylor's formula this function as a polynomial of order 4 plus remainder of order 4, where remainder of order 4 is the fifth derivative of the function at c into x to the power 5 over 5 factorial. Now take its mod to both sides, find out the value of this fifth derivative. Since fifth derivative is cos c, and we know that mod of cos c is always less than equal to 1, so we can replace with 1. And after simplifying, we get the values of x, for which if we replace sin x with x minus x cubed by 3 factorial, the error is not greater than this number. In question number 5, h is given to us that it lying between 0 and 0.01. We have to show that e to the power h may be replaced by 1 plus h with an error of magnitude not greater than 0.6% of h. Now in this question, we have to show that, verify that. Already h values are given to us, error is given to us. So first of all, we will find out the Maclaurin series for e to the power h. Then by Taylor's formula, we will see we replace e to the power h with the first order polynomial. So by Taylor formula, we get e to the power h will be polynomial of order 1 plus remainder of order 1. Here we cannot apply alternating series estimation theorem because we don't have the alternate signs. So we can find out its error only by using the remainder estimation theorem, where the remainder of order 1 is the second derivative of the function at c into h square by 2 factorial. Now since the second derivative of the function is e to the power h, and at c it will be e to the power c, and c is a number which is lying between 0 and x, or you can say h. And since our h is positive and h is less than equal to 0.01, so this implies e to the power c will be lying between 1, which is e to the power 0, and e to the power 0.01. The value of e to the power 0.01 is 1.01, so we can use over here. So we can replace e to the power c with 1.01 into h. Now 1h we can replace with this number, that it is less than equal to 0.01. Other h we can take as it is. And now since we have to find the percentage, so we can multiply by 100. This 100 will be cancelled out with this, so we get 0.505% of h, which is clearly less than 0.6% of h. This thing we have to show, which is true. Now in the next question, we have to estimate the error in the approximation of sin hx, where we have to replace the sin hx with x plus x cube by 3 factorial. So first of all, find out the Maclaurin series for this. Since we know that sin hx is e to the power x minus e to the power minus x by 2, so we can find out its higher order derivatives, then find out its values at 0. Now since the derivatives are 0, even order derivatives are 0, so this is polynomial of order 3 as well as polynomial of order 4. So by Taylor's formula, we have to consider the maximum one. So we have to find out the value of remainder of order 4. So we will find out the maximum bound of this error. Here it is fifth derivative is cos hyperbolic c. We have to find out the maximum value of this over the interval 0 to 0.5. Right? So just replace by this and you get the value of the error. So this completes the tute sheet 4.